Jenkin, Axiom Financial, our buddy.
Our pal.
Mega Millions, $449 million. Here's my question for you, Ted. Because you've had clients come into you before that have won the lottery, correct?
Yeah, recently we had somebody win the lottery. Not the Mega Millions, but they won $1 million.
Okay, that's my question.
So awesome.
What do you do? Because when you have a big amount of money that you win, which you've discussed on this show before, there's a lot of different steps, and which you can get into here as well, about making sure you take your time, you get somebody like you to work the finances, you LLC and all that stuff. But what about just $1 million? So I say just $1 million because you're going to get about $650 some odd $1,000.
Depends who your tax guy is.
Okay.
I think you throw a private party and hire a Journey.
You're probably going to have 30% come off the top when it's all said and done. And then $1 million, you can't take an annuity, so it's going to come as a cash lump sum. You're going to lose, 30%, let's say, to taxes. So you walk away with $700,000. But my first thing is that, you want to maintain anonymity, right? So the key is to get some sort of trust set up. Otherwise, once you go in and you announce your name, you're going to be on TV. You're going to be in the newspaper. And
here come the phone call.
That's when people come out of the woodwork for your money.
Yeah, but you can't, in the state of Georgia, didn't they
can't do it in Georgia.
You can't stay anonymous, right? They didn't pass that law.
But certain states...
In Tennessee, I had a client win it.
And you can go without having your...
You can go into Nashville. That's where you pick up the money.
Okay, but nobody knows. And so in other words,
in this case, no, nobody knows.
So you can keep it a secret. Why is Georgia so out there? Like,
you can do it. No, you can do it in Georgia. You just have to pay for it. They want part of the money.
That's for me to stay.
Absolutely.
Oh, that sucks. So I got to pay extra.
I want to say the number is either 15 or 25% of your winnings to maintain anonymity. Seriously.
Okay, but when you...
Oh, that sucks.
But Mega Millions, you don't go to Nashville to pick it up.
No. This is just somebody that won $1 million in Nashville.
Okay, I'm talking about here in Georgia. If somebody wins just $1 million out of this $449 million, then they don't want... I wouldn't want... 15, 20% just to stay anonymous. Should they put it under like a business or a company, so when the papers get a hold of it, it'll say Joe Blow's, Acme.
I think it's your personal name. I think it's your birth name, right?
No. I'm just saying, normally you would only set up an LLC or some sort of trust if you wanted to maintain anonymity. But if not, there really isn't going to be a big deal. The trust's actually going to hurt you worse in taxes than it would if it stayed in your own name.
So there it is in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Jason Bailey won X amount of dollars unless you pay the state 15 to 20% to keep it hush-hush.
The biggest issue, Jason, frankly, that I see, whether people get a windfall, family inheritance, or some money comes into their hands, is that everyone will say to themselves, I'm not going to buy anything. I'm not going to buy anything fancy. But it's not true. People have the money, and if it sits in your bank account too long, I'm going to buy me a truck. Something comes out like that, and then people are going to spend the money.
Well, the girl at CNN that we had on last time, I think it was Powerball that was up big that we did this whole thing. She won $1 million, and I remember when we had her on the air, she said the first thing that they did was they paid off their house, which was, let's just say, around $300,000 some odd dollars, and then they bought a couple vehicles.
I don't like that.
So they bought a couple cars. And, after it was all said and done, they had a couple $100,000 left over. It was all gone because they had debt and school loans and stuff like that. So that'll go pretty damn quick.
Yeah, I'm not saying that if you net out $700,000, it's not a life changer. I mean, it definitely will change somebody's life, but it's probably not going to set you up for good. Okay, because the truth is, and people will say, should I pay off my mortgage? And it ends up becoming more of an emotional decision than it is a financial decision because interest rates are so low.
Well, answer that question.
Well, if your interest rate is 3% or 4% on your mortgage, the question is, over the next 10, 20, 30 years, could I do better with my money and investment and make more than the interest that I'm paying the mortgage company?
Exactly.
Right now?
You got to look at that at all times. It doesn't make sense, but that's really the smart play.
Well,
because people think you need to pay off things, and sometimes it's not smart to pay something off. No, not if it's at a lower interest rate.
In theory, it is, right? But there's no guarantees out there that the markets will do better than the mortgage rate that you have. And I do like for people, if you can have a safe play there, and you have your house, if you lose your job or whatever it may be, you got something in your hand, right? You can't take it away from you at this point because you don't have a mortgage.
No, that's a good. I was thinking about this just the other day. I was like, what would I do if I won $1 million and I had $700,000 in hand? Would I pay off my house? Would I pay off the cars? Or would I just stockpile it and keep it in there, or find an investment. Find some investment properties or something to that effect. I wouldn't do a 401k.
What about start a business?
Nah, I wouldn't start a business. I'd flip houses before I start a business.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend starting that.
Well, I like when the reason that the lottery offers things such as annuities is to prevent people from hurting themselves with their money, right? So if you win and you take an annuity, you're getting this guaranteed paycheck every year. So the idea of taking some of this money and putting it away to something long-term that you can't touch, it's out of your hands. So somewhere down the road when you make work optional, you've got this lump sum of money. That's a really good idea. Get some of it just out of your hands, out of sight, out of mind. Otherwise, if it's in your bank account, I promise you, I see this in Atlanta every day, you'll spend it.
Man, that's smart to get it as a paycheck. If you can go, like giving me a little bit each year, then when your friends come up to you wanting for big money, go, hey man, I'm only getting like $200,000 a year. I'm only getting this.
You're talking about from the state or making?
No, I'm just saying. Look, this is the thing is when you see people that are happy when they retire, like teachers, they get a pension, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a year. If you take a lump sum of money today and put it away, you can do this with different insurance companies. They'll set you up with a paycheck down the road.
Gotcha.
So
it's
if you're
your
35
money,
or 40 years old, you'll have that money when you're 60 or 65. You get a check in the mail every month.
How awesome is that?
Well, then why don't you just ask the state why don't you just take it in payments until you die, and then you won't get taxed the way you get taxed if you take it as a lump sum?
You can't do it with the $1 million. On the mega, you can do it. And that's the question. Should I take $450 million, or if they say, I'm going to give you a lump sum of $300 million, what's a better deal? Like a lot of people like that greed of getting the cash in their hand, but if they spread that out over 30 years and you got, $20 million or $15 million a year, would you be happy?
Kind of.
No, well, see, here's the thing. You could go get hit by a bus tomorrow, and I believe the money's not transferable.
That's right.
So the state keeps the money. So, yeah, you always want to that's the catch-22.
You want the lump sum, so you've got it in your family.
Totally take the lump sum.
Yeah, that sucks. I didn't realize that if I decided not to take the lump sum, that I couldn't will it to somebody else.
Well, it's not true with most annuities. Most annuities, you have the opportunity to either leave part to a spouse or get it for at least 20 years or something like that. Depends on how you set up the contract. But, a lot of people, once they get the money in their hands, I'm telling you, they invest in businesses that don't make sense. They buy the $80,000 truck that they always wanted, and that's a guaranteed depreciating asset, guaranteed to lose. You might look good on the road, but you're guaranteed to lose money, whether you look cool or you don't. They start loaning money to family and friends.
Look, I got no problem if you win $1 million.
Bailey doesn't have family.
Yeah, I got no problem if you win $1 million, you get $700,000 in pocket, or you win the 449 and you win the big one, and you splurge a little bit. I got no problem with that. It's the giving money to family and friends. Yeah. That's where you get God. Well,
what happens to a lot of people, Jason, you see this with professional athletes. Maybe this will happen to Dwight Howard. It's the whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll. When people have money in their hands, I'm telling you, if you don't get around the right people and get the right counsel, you've seen athletes, you've seen rock stars go bankrupt. Just because you have this money, a lot of people that I've seen that get an inheritance or a windfall like this, they go bankrupt.
Have you seen that 30 for 30 with Bernie Kosar and all the other, they're all buying car washes and spending their money just on stupid stuff, and they have nothing to show for it.
For every one celebrity athlete like a Magic Johnson who's done incredibly well, there's 10 of them that have lost tons of money on rotten investments because they had got rotten counsel. Even Tim Duncan recently, he got swindled out of $20 million.
Oh, Mark Brunell, former quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was a big deal at one point in time. The guy's pushing energy drinks now.
Oh, man.
Mutual friend tried to get me involved. I mean, it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs.
You want to believe there's an amount of money you can be handed that you can't blow it, but I guess that's not the case.
Look at Antoine Walker, who played for the Celtics. He blew through $80 million.
Yeah.
$80 million, Steve. No, look, it is one of the worst things that happens to people. They get this money in their hands and they start thinking about all these things that they want to buy. And the key, I do believe, is pay off the debt, be clean, right? Get a certain amount in a cash reserve in case you lose your job, and then put the rest away for the long term.
There you go.
The people that have come to you quickly, and we got a break, but people that have come to you that won the lottery, probably the best move was to come to Auction Financial because you set it up so they couldn't screw it up.
You just got to get around the right counsel. We're level-headed and common sense, so we talk to people in a common sense way. Minimize your taxes on the bite when you get the money, and then get it set up for the long term.
Well, that's
the right way.
There it is. You need somebody that's not involved, a third party that knows what the hell they're doing, and that's Oxygen Financial, because you definitely don't trust somebody you know.
All right, there you go. How can people get a hold of you there, Ted?
My number is 29, Jason, by the way.
29, why?
That's when I became a millionaire.
Oh, well.
It's awesome. That is so wrong, but it's awesome.
You remember that day. All right, quickly, oxygenfinancial.net.
Go to oxygenfinancial.net. If you get a lottery or you get an inheritance or you get a windfall or something like that, check us out on oxygenfinancial.net. I'll get you my free guide, and we'll help you out.
There you go. Brandy, headlines, round number 2. What do you got over there?
We have tickets to see Steven Wilson from Porcupine Tree on Thursday, November 17th at Center Stage. Tickets for that, Ticketmaster.com.
Huh?
Steven Wilson from Porcupine Tree.
What the hell's that?
It's a band and a man from a band named Porcupine Tree.
Oh.
I'll be honest with you. We really want you to call anyway.
Woo! And free breakfast from McDonald's. I am loving it.
And your share of Mega Millions.
Oh.
Let's load this up.
Let's load it up. Load it up.
All right, match up the headline with the correct piece of audio. Brandy's got both those for you and help everybody out with these stories that everybody needs to know. 404-741-7625. Headlines, round number 2. Need some players. Here next is Bailey.